Hey, everybody, this is Susan, your Interfaith pastor. And I was thinking that it might be a good idea to backtrack a little bit and just do some basic reminders of how we do engage in interfaith conversations. And I thought the best place to start, since I am a Lutheran pastor, is to go back to really one of the saints of the Lutheran Church, Krister Stendahl, who had been a professor at Harvard Divinity School. He had also been the Bishop of Sweden for a time. And he's also known for, he was the first one to call the ordinations of the openly gay and lesbian pastors who first got the ELCA to take notice of the situation, even though it got the congregations that they were called to kicked out for a time. Still, Krister Stendahl called these ordinations ex ordinem, or extraordinary. And to this day, we have Extraordinary Lutheran Ministries, ELM.org, that is one of our organizations and advocating for LGBTQ plus folks. So Krister Stendahl, but he's also very well known in interfaith circles because he had been involved in Jewish Christian dialogues after the Holocaust, after World War II. But he had, or at least it's credited to him, that he had three guidelines for being involved in interfaith dialogue. And the first of those was that you should always talk to another people of another group the best of what they had to offer. In other words, when you're trying to understand, no, I should go back. That wasn't the first one. Number one is when you're trying to understand another religion, you should ask the adherents of that religion, the people who love that religion, not its enemies. Very simple, but good to remember. The second is what I was trying to get to before. The second is don't compare your best to their worst. So don't always talk about the violence in another tradition while talking about how we're always loving and compassionate. Don't do that. And then the third thing is to leave room for holy envy, what he called holy envy. And by this, he meant that we should be willing to recognize elements in another religious tradition that we admire and wish in some way we could reflect in our own tradition. So those are the three. Those are the three things that Krister Stendahl offered to us as ways of engaging in dialogue. And I like that third one about holy envy, because I have found that to be very true, that there are things in other traditions that I find very helpful. For instance, in Islam, the tradition of prayer, daily prayer, 5 times a day. And that's something that I, as a person of prayer, wish I could be certainly more disciplined about, and other traditions as well. There are all things I like to talk of it as we all have gifts to bring to the table. What gifts do we bring? And so I talk about, for Lutherans, it's grace. Not that other traditions don't talk about grace, they certainly do, but that's kind of our thing. Justification by grace. We love to talk about that. And in other ways too. I mean, Muslims don't have the corner on prayer either, and yet they have that gift of prayer, and fasting as well, how they talk about the spiritual aspects of that. So all of those things are what I offer us today as we think about other traditions and how we talk to adherents of those traditions. Hopefully we'll learn something and grow a little bit, and then go on to learn something even more. Okay, that's it for today. I'll see you next time.